Kinnock.
Madam Deputy Speaker, it's a pleasure to follow the honourable member, and I'd like to congratulate her on making absolutely the right choice for this referendum. The decision facing the electorate on the 23rd of June is a choice between economic security and global influence inside the EU or a leap in the dark outside it. And nowhere will the consequences of that choice be more deeply felt than in my constituency, where the Port Talbot Steelworks is the beating heart of our economy and of our community. I was therefore very pleased to see that this week Tata Steel UK sent an all-staff communication which states that the European Union influences very important aspects of Tata Steel's business in the UK. The EU is by far our largest export market, with over a third of our UK steel heading there. And that's not including the steel that goes via our customers. The EU is a critical export market for the UK's car makers, for example. So access to that market is fundamental to our business, and one of the preconditions for this trade is that EU laws and regulations are followed. If the UK were to exit the EU and set these rules ourselves, it is likely we would still need to adhere to the EU rules to enter that market. The difference, we would no longer have a say in how those rules are set up or applied. Madam Deputy Speaker, we know that the British steel industry is in a precarious state. The last thing it needs now is the turmoil that would be unleashed by a Brexit. That is why I'm looking forward once again to joining steelworkers in Aberavon Town Centre on Saturday to send the message loud and clear. The steel industry is stronger, safer and better off inside the EU. So the bread and butter case for Remain is clear, but there is also a compelling strategic case to be made. The fact is that Britain succeeds when we open ourselves to the world, not when we close ourselves off. We succeed as a nation when we trade, forge alliances and build bridges. We are at our best when we are leading, not leaving. Madam Deputy Speaker, in the spirit of cross-party consensus that's gripping the House this afternoon, I'd like to quote Winston Churchill, who in 1948 spoke of three majestic circles that should define our approach to the world: the Commonwealth, the United States, and Europe. With Britain being the very point of juncture, as he said, the only country with a great part to play in every one of them. Churchill's message is as true today as it was almost 70 years ago. He knew then, and we know now, that weakening our ties with one circle will inevitably weaken our ties with all three. President Obama made this clear during his recent visit, because he knows that a strong Britain in a strong Europe is a stronger ally for the United States. But don't just take President Obama's word for it. Prime Minister Modi has said that Britain is India's gateway to the EU. If we leave, Mr. Modi's priority won't be us. His priority will be to find a new gateway. Madam Deputy Speaker, like all nations, we've grappled with the forces of globalization for thousands of years. From the moment the Romans landed on our shores, we've been an integral part of the international community, buffeted by the winds of commerce, conflict, and geopolitics. Over the centuries, we marshalled the arts of empire building, trade, and alliance building to emerge as the preeminent global power. But since 1948, we've evolved from being an imperial power to being a global partner. This transformation, this journey, has been morally, politically, and economically right, and it's been powered by the politics of economics and realism. The movement of goods, services, capital, and people across borders has given rise to a world in which the lines between the domestic and the foreign have blurred. Fast forward 42 years, and we see how right we were. From the steel crisis to the Panama Papers, the refugee crisis to taking on the Kremlin, the EU is the key player in all of these issues, and that's why it's critical that we vote to remain on the 23rd of June.
Mike Woods.